Great. Let's just get started. And we definitely will keep this to an hour. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining us. So, to introduce myself, my name is Joyce Meng, and I'm the co founder of Givology. We're so thrilled to have you today for the launch of Hope Across Borders, the Peach Foundation, and the pursuit of education for Myanmar refugees in Thailand. As background to this project, Givology funded photojournalist Reina Caruthers, a true champion of social justice, to visit several Peach Foundation scholarship recipient schools in Mae Sot, Thailand. The work is so important because the schools are sanctuaries of hope during today's chaotic times when civil war in Myanmar has caused many undocumented refugees to escape across the border to Thailand in search of better opportunity. At Givology, our model is to advocate, champion, and support impactful grassroots organizations with the idea that small dollars and small hours can be a powerful force of change. The Peach Foundation has been a close partner for the last 15 plus years, and we are so grateful to support their work and share their stories with you. Before I pass along to Alina Du, our Chief Marketing Officer, for some opening remarks about Givology and our agenda for today, I want to express our deep gratitude to photojournalist Reina, Ruth Jang, and her incredible team at the Peach Foundation, and most importantly, all of you for joining us today. Your support makes all the difference, and we would not be here without all of you, our supporters, friends, and volunteers.
Thanks, Joyce. And to introduce myself, my name is Alina Du, and I'm the Chief Marketing Officer at Givology. Givology's unique model is that we are a 100% volunteer-run online giving marketplace for education. The work that we do in our advocacy, fundraising, events, and chapters comes from our deep passion to support grassroots education projects and student scholarships with the belief that education combats poverty and unlocks opportunity. I myself am currently a student at Harvard, and you'll hear from more of our team, many of them also students and young professionals. We have a belief that no matter how old or how young your background or prior experiences, everyone has something to give, whether it's $1 or 1 hour. These small hours and small dollars can aggregate into a powerful movement for change. I strongly believe that this is even more important in today's world of polarization, deglobalization, and skepticism, where it is so easy to just look in the immediate world around you and forget what we can actually do to help others in other countries. Thank you guys so much for caring. And I'll now introduce the agenda. So we aim to keep this event tightly to an hour. We'll start off by an exhibition video created by our talented Reina Caruthers, and then listen to a recorded message from Ruth Jang Peach Foundation. After that, we'll officially launch the art gallery exhibition and do the virtual tour together with Reina, who will discuss her lens and experience. And then after that, we'll do a fun live auction for 2 special pieces, and then listen from 6 different Peach volunteers on their stories. And then we'll conclude with any questions. I know for the various supporters who emailed us and indicated they could not attend, we'll have a recording up, and the virtual gallery and shop will be available for the next few months, and especially into the holiday gifting. Without further ado, Joyce, can you share the video?
Great. Now we'll do, Ruth couldn't join us today, but we're gonna go do her video, which she shared with us before. I'm delighted to have Ruth Jang from the Peach Foundation join us. Ruth, you've created so much impact. Can you please tell us a little bit more about yourself and what inspired you to start the Peach Foundation?
Oh, I came from Taiwan 40 some years ago to pursue my postgraduate school, and then I settled down in the US and blah blah blah. And I think the one big reason drove me to start a Peach is my personality. Ever since I was a little girl, I just feel I'm like super sensitive to people's suffering, if you may call it. And and then about 23 years ago, I was retired at the time, and I just felt like, instead of turn my head away from people suffering, but it just it still crept into me, to see people suffering, especially children. So I said, why don't I roll up the sleeve and just do something about it, you know? And that's how I started Peach Foundation. It's actually to stop. It's to stop my own suffering. And the suffering, my own suffering, is actually created by other people's suffering. I just feel like it's like if somebody has a flea, and that flea would jump into me, So if I solve other people's problem, then I will stop feeling bad for that person. So I think that's the bottom line of it.
Mm-hmm. No, that's really inspiring. And I guess, like, what impact has the Peach Foundation created over the years, and what are some of your proudest accomplishments?
Oh, yeah. In the last 23 years, we have helped over 18,000 children. Mostly it's in China, Yunnan province. And out of 18,000, we have about 7,000 college graduates. And they are holding a lot of nice position in the society, such as I have so many doctors, so many nurses, so many teachers, so many government officials, all the hot jobs Chinese parents want their children to have. And my peach kids are doing that. So they are all become middle class, and one thing I'm most proud is my staff. I have 7 staff. 6 out of 7 are my peach children. We took them in when they were in middle school, high school, and we helped them finish middle school, high school education and help them finish college education. And they have been working for me more than 10 years, 15 years, and that is the proudest thing. It's like working with your children.
No, that's really incredible. What are some of the challenges you face in your work in Maysot, and what are your plans to deal with these challenges?
Oh, okay. Meso is a different story. I think the biggest problem is the Thai government are nice enough. Okay, let me explain the Meso refugee. They are the refugee from Myanmar, okay, due to the war, especially after 2021, February, after the military coup, there are more and more refugees from Myanmar. And the biggest challenge is, even though the Thai government allow them to come in, but the Thai government doesn't really help the children to get proper education. Even the law says they will provide free education to the whoever born in Thailand, but they want to see like 10, 20 documents before they allow the children. So for this reason, the refugees started their own school. It's called migrant schools. And the condition of the school is beyond terrible, beyond terrible. They are shed, they are planks put together, and the teachers are getting like $50 a month, and the quality of the teachers are very bad, because the school cannot afford to pay. So you can imagine the bad cycle, like no money, so no good teachers, and plus the legal status of the children and of the teachers. Of course, the teachers are not legally staying in they can stay, but they cannot travel outside of Mesort because they have no ID. So this is legal status, the condition of the schools, the quality of the teachers, and all of the above. And my solutions, I actually have no solutions. Okay, so what I'm doing is, because the teachers are making very little money, like $50, or $75 a month, and many of them treat this job like a transit. If they can find a better job, say day labor, they will go. Okay, so we try to give stipend to the teachers, and we give us like the highest we give is $150 a month. Okay, and that's of course that's not enough, but it's better than $50. Okay, and then we very much emphasize on teacher training, because the teachers' quality are bad. They need training. They need training. So we will find all kind of training for the teacher to improve themselves. Okay, and as for the children, we set up scholarship. We tell the children, they can dream, and we will help them to fulfill their dream. And I think that's the saddest thing. Children, they are afraid to dream. They have no role model. Anybody around them are in their same position. And when they were in Myanmar, this group of children, they were farmers' children. They have the lowest social status, the lowest financial condition. So they have no role model. So our job is to inspire the children, with your intelligence, with your dedication, with your hard work. You can dream, and the sky is your limit. And Peach Foundation will be with you every step of the way. We are making the wings for you to dream.
Yeah, no, that's so tough, but genuinely, like every little bit matters, and enabling and empowering those dreams are so important. And to that, like, what impact so far have like the scholarships made on the community overall from like the work that you've done?
Yes, we have now working with 15 schools. Okay, they have 70 migrant schools, but gradually we are working with more and more, and we are providing the stipend. As after the school we work with, we can see the turnover rate is significantly reduced. So the school have a stable staff, stable teachers, to do the job. And for the children, we will provide them $300 a year. That kind of cover everything: food, tuition, every other cost. And before we come in, if they don't have money and the migrant school are nice enough, they will waive the fees. And I asked the school, where do you get the money to waive the fees and support these children for free? And the headmaster would say, oh, we just kind of cut down the teachers' pay. Say if they are making $100 a month, now they are making 75. If more refugee children coming and more children cannot pay, and the teacher pay will be reduced to 50, 40. And that really touches me. This is it's like a community effort, to support their children together. And that really, to me, that is like really touches me. So I want to do this. So I told the principal, I said, when it comes to my Peach children, I don't want you to waive. I want you to collect the full fees, and use this money to better the school, to raise a little rent, to raise a little pay, and to improve the food. Okay. And so let's together raise this kid. I don't want the school to be the sole responsibility to raise the children.
No, that makes a lot of sense. And just on that, like, what are some of the targets that you hope to achieve in the coming years? And for everyone attending this exhibition, like, what are ways for volunteers and supporters to get involved and donate so that you can meet these targets?
Okay, next year, again, I'm increasing to support more children and to support more teachers, and then to improve the quality of the teaching, so that is my goal for the next year. Okay, slowly, surely. And as for what's the second question again?
Yes, how can everyone like really help support your mission and get involved and support your project?
Yes. Like this year, we did our first English summer camp at Massel, and it was a huge success. And when we face to face, talk to the children and give them a 1 week English lesson. 1 week English, nobody can learn much in 1 week, but it's the love you deliver to them, and it's your caring, and it's your enforcement of encouragement, and that really build up the children's confidence. And then many of them are able to dream, because you tell them you are worth of it, you can do it. We are here with you, and this is what I want to advocate, to recruit more teachers. You don't need teaching experience. All you need is a loving heart. And that's what the children need. And we're going to have another summer camp next year, July the 7th to July the 17th. Yes. And we are going to invite 300 migrant children.
Great. No, it's so always wonderful to hear from Ruth. And now to the part that everyone's like really waiting for. We're going to turn it over to Reina to go through the exhibition and the artist's lens.
Hi, everyone. I'm just going to share the virtual exhibition with you. So this is the virtual exhibition. This is how you enter into the virtual exhibition. So you need to give your email, your name, and then you can enter like this. Okay. And I am not going to go through the virtual exhibition to show you the images, just because there is a small lag that happens with this website. But after this event, please go back to this exhibition and have an explore, have a look at the different photographs and the different stories on display. But I'll show you, you can just click on an image. And after a while, it will show you the image. Is it showing you? I don't know. Can you see?
Maybe you have to navigate a little closer. You might have to hit that button to get closer to the photo, and then you can click it.
Yeah, it takes a little bit of work.
Like
Oh, perfect. Okay, yeah,
yeah,
this is
yeah.
so, yep, you can press the image. Oh, okay, and then you can go learn more. And then it should open, and then you should be able to see the different images, and there'll be captions at the side. But I'll move on to presentation. Second. Okay. Sorry, I'm trying to find the play button, but I can't find it. Here we are. Okay, so hi everyone, my name is Raina Carruthers. Thank you for coming to this event today. I'm a photojournalist and I've been freelancing for over a year. Previously, I'd been focusing on stories about the Middle East, and I've been interested in particular in stories of protracted displacement. So people being displaced for a long period of time, in some cases decades. So when Peach Foundation and Givology reached out to me about documenting their work in Thailand, I thought it would be a great chance to continue documenting different stories about displacement. Specifically, I was intrigued by the work that Peach Foundation was doing through sponsoring children to complete their high school education. So I had known a little bit previously about the war in Myanmar. I had seen the documentary Free Burma Rangers, which is about an organization that I would recommend you looking into if you want to understand more about the conflict in Myanmar. I also had read some reports by human rights organizations that have reported human rights violations in Myanmar, as well as genocide. And I knew about the Rohingya refugee crisis, which a lot of photographers have already covered. Normally, I think people see photojournalism as going to a place where there's a crisis, taking photos of what's happening, shining a light on a problem, but not always offering a sense of hope or a solution. While I think that photography is really necessary, I thought that going with the Peach Foundation would give me the opportunity to document the effects of conflict, but through a different lens, through the children, through their pursuit of education, but also through the people that are actively trying to help them. So the aim of this gallery is to show that there's hope. The people that I spoke to and photographed and interviewed all had an inner faith that one day they will be able to return to a free Myanmar, and that they are currently preparing the next generation to be able to do this through education. So this first image is a scene from a classroom at a school called Nobo Academy. It's a very large school and it's located beside the refugee camp Mae La in the north of Mae Sot. This camp houses around 90,000 documented refugees, but the people that the Peach Foundation are working with are mostly undocumented. At Nobo Academy, the majority of students come from Karen State. Karen State is a state that directly borders Thailand. Myanmar is made up of many different people groups, many different states. The people groups have different religions, different beliefs, different cultural traditions. For years, the Burmese state has been persecuting and attacking these different ethnic groups. And this all came to a head in 2021 when there was a military coup. And that meant that there was political instability and sort of the violence against dissident voices and these ethnic groups was at the worst that it's ever been. So many of the children that have fled recently, even though the refugee crisis is many years old. So the Karen people have also faced prejudice and persecution by the Burmese army for many years. And nearly all of the students that I was able to photograph were from Karen State. And this scene is of some students who are wearing a traditional Karen dress in the classroom. So the second image that I want to show you is a picture I took of a school called Sunshine Academy. Sunshine Academy is also located in the north of Mae Sot. The school was first founded in 2009 and it was founded in Myanmar. Sorry, the school was first founded in Myanmar, but in 2009, the Burmese army attacked the village that the school was located in and they burned down the school. This event and this memory is still vivid in the minds of the community even today. And so after this happened, the founders of the school decided to move the academy to Thailand, but wanted to remain close to the border so that kids from the village could easily come to the school. A lot of the pictures in the gallery are celebrations of the students and the teachers and the schools, highlighting the community that they've been able to foster. But a lot of the photos don't show directly how war and displacement has affected these children. That's because these schools are schools. They're places where kids are playing, they're learning, they're getting to discover things, new things, and they're living in safety. But I knew through speaking to a lot of the teachers that the mental toll of war was affecting the children. While they're sitting in the classes and learning, their minds often drift back to their villages, their families, the people that they've left behind. They're grieving, even though that is not something that we're able to see visibly. So my challenge as a visual artist was trying to show an invisible aspect of their life. So I decided to ask the teachers and students to write in Burmese or English what they thought about when they thought about Myanmar. I collected their responses, I scanned their responses and imposed the messages, which are their handwriting on some of the photos. So this photo is of Sunshine Academy. and has a message from one of the students to show that while these schools are places of refuge, learning, play, and safety, that feelings of grief and loss are also present. I'll just quickly read the translation of the message that the student wrote. I feel sad. The certain future we once had is gone. My country may not survive much longer. It could fall under the control of others. So as Ruth was saying, the most vital characters in these schools are the teachers. This is a portrait of Johnny. Johnny is a teacher at New Blood School. The violence in Myanmar has inhibited many children from going to school for many years. Johnny fled Myanmar in 2010. He told me that when he first arrived to the school, there were no classrooms. So before he could do any classes, he had to build the classroom with his classmates. He laughed about this experience, but said that his time at the school meant that the principal and his fellow classmates became his closest family. He was a very bright student, and when he graduated, he decided to become a teacher. He wanted to do for others what had been done for him. Johnny is supported by the Peach Foundation and has been an integral person to their work in Thailand. Um, he, alongside one of his colleagues, has developed an educational program called GED, which they hope will give refugees the best opportunities for their future. As Ruth said, it's really challenging for them without the proper documentation to be able to go on to further study. But through the GED program, they're hoping that maybe traveling abroad or some other type of college might be accessible to them. Johnny dreams of returning to Myanmar in the future. His parents are currently in an internally displaced person camp, and he wants to go and establish a school for the children in that camp. He's very hopeful for the future of Myanmar. Since the coup, he says that the different people groups of Myanmar have never been more united, and that he sees a free Myanmar as on the horizon. A lot of the teachers at this school, like Johnny, are refugees, and so they can really speak into the lives of the students and understand where they're coming from. The last person that I want to focus on is a 16-year-old student that the Peach Foundation is hoping to support in the future. She's very bright. She spoke very good English. She would speak to me often in English, and I photographed her often in her summer camp classroom. But this image is by far one of my favorites of her. She's playing a game with her fellow classmates. Um, this student fled Myanmar over a year ago, so she could get the opportunity to study and go to school. She fled alone, left behind her family, and she lives at the school throughout the year. This is a photo of her and her football team. She's on the right at the end. Yeah, they are one of the, I was told by them and by their coach that they're one of the best football teams in the region and in the league that they play in. And yeah, she told me that her dream for the future is that she wants to get to travel the world. And I think it's important to note, like Ruth did, that war and displacement often stops children from being able to dream about their future. The conditions of war and violence can mean that they must think in the short term, focusing on how to survive. One of the most important things that these schools are providing is a safe place for children to dream about their future. They are able to explore new things, make new friends, and learn, which will set them up for years to come. So thank you for listening. Thank you for having a look at some of these pictures. And again, I just want to encourage you after this event to return to the virtual exhibition and just have a little explore. There are so many more photographs, so many more stories. So yeah, I hope you enjoy them. And I'll pass you on to Nicholas, who's next.
Yes, thank you, Raina. That was really wonderful. And so my name is Nicholas. I've been with Givology since 2020. I'm the co-head of the events team, and I'm currently a sophomore at Emory University. and I'm here to introduce the next part of our event today, which is going to be a live auction. So we have two of Raina's photos, which are really wonderful. This is the first one you can see. Joyce is screen sharing. She's going to put up a little timer. Um, so the way this is going to work is that we have these two photos. They're both going to be 20 by 30, and so much larger than some of the other ones we were looking at, and they're one of one, so you're not going to be able to get them anywhere else in any print form. So we're going to start a 2-minute timer as Raina answers some questions about these photos, and it's going to be a silent auction. So you can put in the chat some bids, either directly to me or in the public chat, either way. It'll be a silent auction, and I want to introduce this first piece that you can see in the background. It's a photo of the Mae Sot countryside. Myanmar and the Mae Sot region are very similar geographically in terms of the landscape. And one thing that Raina shared with us was a quote that a refugee student wrote, and I'm going to read that to you. And then Raina's going to take over and talk a little bit more about this image. So the student wrote, "I'm feeling deeply unhappy every moment. The younger generation is losing their future because of political turmoil, and many people are lost, not knowing what to do. Some are far from home and family, forced to flee due to the unrest. It breaks my heart to be away from my country, living in another place filled with challenges and hardships. This is the weight of what I'm feeling." And so I'm going to turn it over to Raina as the timer goes. Can you tell us a little bit more about the background of this piece? And make sure to submit some bids in the chat to everyone else.
Yeah, so I took this photo in between traveling from the Mae Sot city centre to some of the schools in the northern region of Mae Sot. On the way, on the drive, you're surrounded by stunning scenery, lots of mountains, lots of forest, grass, farming land. And I was with someone from the Peach Foundation, but also our translator was a teacher in one of the schools in Mae Sot, and he was looking outside of at the scene in front of us, and he said, "Oh my gosh, I think these mountains are Myanmar in the distance. That's Myanmar over there." And so I told him to stop the car, and we got out and we took some photographs. And I've named this piece "Myanmar on the Path Ahead." As you said, Nicholas, the geography is so similar because they share a land border. And I was also told that Thailand and Myanmar do have a strong relationship. The people have a strong relationship with one another because they have lived so close to each other. So I just thought this image effectively showed how close Myanmar is, but yeah, so far away.
Awesome. Thank you so much. So the timer went off. Currently, the highest bid is from Elizabeth. Well, last chance to anyone, if anyone wants to bid higher. Give it one last call. Okay. Thank you, Raina. That was really inspiring. And all right, this is our next photo. Same sort of format, 2 minutes on the clock. It's gonna be silent bids. And so do you want to talk a little bit more about this? This, I believe, is a day school. Like, it's called the White School. But do you want to talk a little bit more about this image?
Yeah, so this is from White School, as you said. I took this also nearing the end of the day. We had just been traveling to some of the other schools, and then we arrived at this school. A lot of the children, when I arrived, were just so excited that there was someone new to see. And so I sort of had to wait a little bit for them to calm down, for the novelty to wear off, and tried to get some more candid pictures of them. And I saw this picture while they were waiting. They'd finished their day at school, they were waiting to go home. This girl had put on her backpack and was waiting at the door, just so excited to go home, waiting for her mom or her dad to come and pick her up. This school was founded by an amazing woman who used to go with medical teams to visit different refugee families in the area. And at each house, she saw there was at least one child that wasn't going to school, and that really broke her heart. So she decided to create a school. And they cater for sort of the younger generation. So they cater for maybe kindergarten, middle school. Um, and yeah, they and then students afterwards can go into other schools for high school. But yeah, I just loved this picture. It reminded me of, I feel like, something that I experienced when I was younger, like packing up all my books and my stationery and putting it in a bag and just waiting for my parents to turn up and go home at the end of the day.
Awesome, sounds great. And I got a couple more seconds. Anyone, if they want to submit a last minute bid, can. Going once, going twice. All right. Thank you so much to everyone who bid. That concludes the live auction portion. Yes, David. Um, if anyone wanted to purchase some prints but missed today, there are ones on the exhibition that you can directly purchase, and those are going to be framed or unframed prints. You can buy those and get those shipped to you. And thank you to everyone who bid. Thank you to Raina for telling us more about these stories and the photos. And I'm going to turn it over to Anya, who will bring us into the next part of our event.
Thanks, Nicholas. That was a really great auction. And to introduce myself, my name is Anya, and I'm the other co-head of the events team. So now we're gonna move on to some reflections from Peach volunteers. So to get started, why don't we start with Lucas? Why don't you tell us something that you found surprising about your experiences?
Okay, hi everyone. I'm Lucas, and I'm currently like a high school senior based in the Bay Area. And I volunteered with Peach in Mesa last summer, and also in Huizhe, China the previous summer. So, as a high school student and like being around the same age as many of the Peach children I taught in Mesa, I was most surprised by how all of them seem to be kind of like normal kids, even despite their economic hardships and like the constant obstacles they have to experience. So more specifically, it was cool to see that they prioritized finding their hobbies, such as TikTok dances and playing soccer, kind of like normal activities that normal teenagers would even do here in America. And when I interviewed them before like the first day of teaching, they were a little more hesitant to open up, but that's kind of just like human nature. But I really enjoyed learning about their dream jobs, everything from being airplane pilots to travel vlogging to being doctors. And both the translator from my class and like one of my students really wanted to visit the US someday and like possibly attain like education here. And I was really happy to hear that. And I think that through a Peach education and like better employment opportunities, um, I'm hoping that this will be like a possibility for the both of them. And I guess overall, I was kind of afraid there would be like a language barrier with my students, but I was also surprised by how both my translator and the fact that my students quick, quickly, relatively quickly opened up to me was like very reassuring. And I think about my students every day.
That's really great to hear. Thank you so much for your thoughts. Corey, why don't you tell us what you found most surprising about your experiences?
What I find most, well, it's good to see familiar faces and new faces again, and pleasure being here today. What I find most surprising is that my students' optimism and their lightheartedness and their ability to feel joy and just being kids themselves. I find that very surprising, and despite their circumstances. Most of my students, I didn't find out later, a lot of them were separated. I would say 2/3 of them were separated from their parents. Okay. The worst case, my students were actually living in an orphanage, and then she would go to school, and then she would go back to the orphanage after school. And what I find is when I talk to them, right, I ask them, what's the saddest thing? Almost without exception, all the kids that are separated from their parents say they miss their family. And that really saddens me a lot. Okay. And um, I'm sorry. Okay. What I find is that a lot of them, like, they still want to go to college, they still want to do well in school, and show tremendous resilience. However, they need support. Their school is not only a place for education; it's their place of stability and sanctuary. And they still have a lot of ability, right, to learn. A couple of my students, their English is as good as my translator in class, and they are very curious. They ask a lot of questions. So I find that very, very surprising. Okay. One of the things that I think we can help them is two things. One is the school facility. You probably can see it in Reina's picture. The school is made from like mud wall, and then they have these, at least the one that we went to in summer camp, and they have these metal roof, and it's really hot there. Okay, like I would say 90 degrees to 100 every day when we taught there. And when it rains, well, I was in the cafeteria and it was okay there, but my wife's classroom actually leaks. So I think if we can help improve their facility as well as the teacher quality, to help them get like a GED and go to university, and so they can have the opportunity to grow and succeed in life. And that's what I'm hopeful for, that we can achieve and continue their education. So thank you.
Thank you so much for sharing that. Eugene, would you like to share some of your reflections as well?
Yes, sure. So hi, I'm Eugene. I'm currently teaching at the University of Chicago. So I volunteer both for the Meso and the China sessions for several times, right? But for Meso, it's the first time, of course. So one of the accomplishment I felt, which also surprising to me, was the depth and sense of communication that we can achieve, right? And both Lucas and Corey, you mentioned translators and language, right? So some of you may wonder, right, who are those translators? Guess what? They are not professional translators, of course, right? Many of them are just teachers there, and some of them are not very good at English, actually, right? They're just a bit advanced than their students. So I learned some elementary Burmese before I went there, maybe because I told this to Peach Foundation, and I don't know. So at that point, they one translator quit, and they decided they wouldn't put a translator in my class. So for the first 2 days, I didn't have translators. I was worrying, right? So my Burmese is elementary, and my class English is elementary. So I was worrying about the communication problem, right? So, but eventually it turned out that's the best, one of the best communicative experience that I have in my life. I'm a teacher here, right? So I'm a teacher in the university. I communicate every time with my students, with a lot of people, researchers. I do research on communication and language as well. But so based on theory of communication, this whole thing wouldn't work, right? But eventually, it's a best possible scenario. I and my student built deep bond, and when we were saying goodbye on the last day, because I took the photo, I checked the photo, everybody cried, right? So it's just amazing that how much bond and relationship and friendship that we build upon through this experience.
Thank you so much. We have a couple more people to hear from, so why don't we hear from Roger next? What makes you want to be a Peach volunteer and support this project?
Hi, my name is Roger. I have supported the Peach Foundation for more than 10 years, and this is my first summer camp. I am really, really glad that I make the decision to go to Thailand. A close look up at the student and the more understanding of the situation over there had added the depth and meaning of the things I have been doing with the Peach Foundation. it is not just a check. It has faces, it has stories, it has laughter, it has tears. And I'm amazed in the instant bond between the teachers and student. My second thought is I am very impressed by the other volunteer teachers and the pitch workers for their high spirit, their enthusiasm, and their hearts. I have a personal story. If I have a time, I want to share. Last year, summer, Southern California has this mosquito problem. So every time I went to backyard to water the plant, or I took the trash out to the trash can, I got bitten by the mosquito. And it's very itching. It lasts for at least 2 weeks. So it drives me crazy. So this year, go to Thailand, I purchased online a very expensive soap to prevent the mosquito bite. And I bring 2 types of creams to prevent the mosquito bite. So over there, the second day, I saw this volunteer teachers, a young girl. She is very young, she's very pretty, and because the hot weather, she loved to wear short skirt. I think Corey, you know who I'm talking about. And on the second or third day, I noticed in the back of her leg, she had at least two very big bump from the mosquito bite. It's very big and very red, but she doesn't care because she never complained. So after that, for the rest of the days, I keep remind myself, if I got bitten by mosquitoes, which it did happen, I should not complain. I should not cry, because if she can take it, I can take it. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that story. We have 2 more people. Nicole, what did you find most surprising? Nicole, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here. Hi, I'm Nicole. I would say I'm a long-term supporter of Peach. I've been supporting Peach since 2000 because from the founder to the staff of Peach Foundation, they really put their hearts into the projects, and they generally committed to help those children and students in disadvantage. I would say every single student that I met in Mesa has given me a lot of surprises. They, as the video that Rena showed, those kids look spotless, like spotless clean, right? Their clothes is wrinkle free. They wear uniforms. I mean, if I look at them individually, they look no difference from the private school kids here in the United States. So I asked them, how do you guys manage to keep yourself so clean? So what they told me is that they will get up 5 o'clock in the morning or 5:30. They shower themselves, or all of them together. They don't really have individual shower room, so they go into a big shower room, and then they all shower together, and then they wash their clothes and hang them to dry. Then they go to school. Then they attend school. And then after school, they also shower themselves. So, and that's why every day, when I see my students, they're also refreshing and beautiful looking. Okay, so that's one thing that I really admire them for, the discipline that they have. Okay, sometimes I can't even make my children to shower, but not to offend Alicia, who's going to talk next. Okay, and then also when I ask about their future aspiration, what they want to do, many girls told me that they want to be entrepreneurs, surgeons, lawyers. And when I talk to my class in the classroom, they even talk about they want to rebuild Myanmar into federal democratic country. So they have high hope to their country. And then I would say thank you for the technology, both because those kids are separated from the family. So I think their family all give them a cell phone and a cell phone plan, and the school will allow them to have the phone during weekends so they can talk to their family. And so those kids are just like the American kids, they're on Facebook, they're on Instagram. So they are connected to the outside world. So they know the information, how the outside world operates. So I think with continued education, think they can bring hope back to their country. So, and since for girls, so my class is 11th grade. So many beautiful young girls there. So I asked them a particular concern about the safety because the school is so small and the living condition is so primitive. So, and then they all told me that they felt safe in school and they're making friends. They don't feel lonely. They have support from each other. So, so I'm just very grateful that I got to work with those children. And one last thing I want to mention is that I set up this little project for them while I was there. I just gave them a piece of paper, a box of color pencil, and told them to just do some doodling. And I showed them a few Google Doodle examples and asked them to turn in their project in a few days. And I figure they would do so. But to my surprise, just the very next day, every single student come back with their drawings just overnight. Beautiful, colorful, creative drawings that I never expected. And then, I mean, they really taken seriously for whatever I request them to do. So they really spoil me as a teacher. And then one drawing really blew me away. First, I didn't notice the hidden details on the painting, but later my daughter looked at it and pointed out something amazing. The student has secretly woven the words peach throughout the whole design, on the teardrop, on the face, on the peach meal, what that he draw on the painting. It was very clever and intricate. So, I mean, this group of students, they really went above and beyond and deliver in every way. So I feel very lucky to be their teachers, and I thank Peach Foundation connect me with them so that I have opportunity to help them. So, and with more and more volunteers involved in this project, we hope that we can figure out a solution for them because they are in this dilemma that they're stuck in this small town, that they don't have a legal status to continue their education or find a job. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And we'd like to end with one last Peach volunteer, Alicia. And can you tell us your favorite story from the trip?
Okay. My favorite story from the trip was when we celebrated all the students' birthdays together. At first, when I explained that to my students, they were a bit confused, asking whose birthday it was. But then I explained to them that it was everybody's birthday. So they were all singing happy birthday, having fun, and drawing on the whiteboard. and they didn't notice when the beautifully decorated cake was brought out. But when they all saw it, I saw their eyes light up with excitement. Since since they've moved to Thailand, they rarely get something so pretty and they rarely get to eat cake. So it was a really good surprise for them and they were really happy. And and then as each student got their slice, instead of eating it themselves, they started feeding each other and feeding the translator. And before I knew it, like a crowd of students gathered and trying to feed me cake. I was really confused, but I didn't want to miss out on the moment, so I just accepted every one of them. And then it was so special, and it really helped me connect with my students even more.
So, Peach Volunteers, thank you so much for sharing your experiences with us. Your comments were so inspiring and really highlights the importance of the scholarships and the power of community. Now we're going to open it up for a Q&A. If you have any questions, please feel free to unmute yourself or drop them in the chat, and I'll hand it over to Joyce.
Great, we'll take questions. Oh, Astrid has one. Go ahead.
Hi, so I have a question for Reina, and I want to start off by saying, Reina, I think it's amazing that you can combine your talent in photography with philanthropy and, documenting displacement. And I was wondering, how do you determine what subjects or stories to document, and what elements do you consider essential when capturing a photograph that tells a story?
Thank you. Great question. Well, I think it's always, I think photography is in some ways it's a mirror and it's a window. And I think all of us have stories in our families and our histories of displacement or migration. And that's something that has impacted my family in the past. My grandparents migrated to a different country, and that affected my mother, my life, my experience. And so I think there's an element where you want to photograph things that you find interesting, that you want to explore more. But I think also it's important that I find it important as well that each photograph is showing dignity to the person that is being photographed in the story that is being documented. And so while there's photographs that can maybe show tough situations, as long as you're making sure that you are showing dignity and respect to the person that you're photographing, wanting to understand more about their life, more about what makes them human, what makes them happy, what makes them sad, things like that. I think that always comes across in photographs and in stories. So yeah, I hope that gives a little bit of insight into sort of what sort of stories interest me and what types of pictures I like to take.
Yeah, that's amazing. Thank you.
Great. Well, thank you all for joining. We're so, grateful to have you here. And just as one last plug, the exhibition is live, so everyone can go in and see and click around into that, click into that, read the different stories, purchase if you want. You can buy, and we'll have it shipped for you. And 100% of the profits go directly to the MESOT schools. So thank you so much for joining, and I hope you all have a wonderful weekend.